When you think of Sparta, what comes to mind? Strong, stoic warriors? Unyielding discipline? People clad in armor? Renowned for superhuman resilience and wreaking havoc on the battlefield? Yes, Sparta was all that. But behind the legends and the shining armor was a much harsher and complex reality. This ancient Greek city-state, famous for its rigorous ways, was a place where not just men but women and children led lives marked by strict discipline and hardship. Join me as we dive into this formidable world of Sparta and uncover the lesser-known side of its brutal society. Everything began with the birth of a Spartan baby. Being born as a Spartan was itself a test. Before taking even their first breaths, babies were subjected to evaluation. First, the newborn would be bathed in wine. This might sound strange, but it was actually a way to test the baby's strength. If a baby showed no reaction or health issues after the wine bath, it was seen as a sign that it was fit to live. But the wine bath was just the start of a more rigorous inspection. A council of Sparta's elders closely examined each baby's body. It had to be flawless. Any sign of weakness, illness, or deformity meant the baby was unfit for life in Sparta. If a baby was deemed unworthy of life, its fate was grim. These infants were abandoned on the slopes of a mountain known as Apthatai, left to the mercy of the elements. Most would die from hunger, cold, or be preyed upon by wild animals. In Sparta, this practice was seen as a way to eliminate the weak. Only the ones who could survive these early tests were seen as valuable to the community. The harshness of this judgment became a part of the Spartan character from the very beginning. If a child passed these initial tests and was considered healthy, they would be raised by their family. But that didn't mean a gentle childhood awaited them. At the age of 7, Spartan boys were taken from their families and placed under the state's control. From then on, they entered a strict military program called the Agoge. This education was not only about learning the arts of war, but was designed to strengthen them mentally, physically, and morally through rigorous discipline. During this training, the children were given minimal food and sometimes were even left hungry. This was intentional, meant to toughen them up and teach them how to survive under difficult circumstances. Hunger was used as a training tool to encourage them to become resourceful and learn how to steal to feed themselves. But they had to be careful. While they were encouraged to steal, they weren't allowed to get caught. Theft itself was seen as a skill, but being caught was considered a failure. Those who were caught faced punishment, which taught them to be stealthy and cunning. In this way, they honed not only their physical abilities, but also their intelligence to meet the high standards of Spartan society. The Agoge training went beyond survival skills. Endurance was equally important. For example, a ritual whipping contest called Demastagosis was held. In this ritual, boys would be publicly whipped at the temple of Artemis Orthia to test their pain tolerance. Participating in this was a great honor for young boys, and their performance determined their reputation in society. During the whipping, they had to remain silent and endure the pain with pride, as Spartans believed that enduring pain gave them spiritual strength. Additionally, throughout the Agoge, young Spartans had to compete with one another constantly. This wasn't just to test physical endurance, but also mental toughness. Agoge training prepared them not only for individual survival on the battlefield, but also for protecting society as a united force. Many young men would graduate from the Agoge to become full-fledged warriors, but those who didn't meet the standards would end up with lower social status. In Sparta, being a woman was as demanding as being a man. Compared to other Greek city-states, Spartan women had relatively more freedom, but this came at a cost. Like men, they were expected to be strong and resilient. Spartan girls were raised to be powerful and athletic, not delicate or fragile. While men were trained to become warriors, women trained to be physically fit so they could give birth to strong warriors. They participated in sports like running, wrestling, and javelin, as it was believed that this would enable them to bear strong children. In Sparta, being a woman was about fulfilling a duty to create future warriors. Spartan women were mentally tough too. When their husbands went off to battle, they would send them off with the famous phrase, "Return with your shield or on it." This phrase symbolized the Spartan belief in fighting to the death. A defeated soldier would drop their shield and run, but for Spartan women, this was shameful. They preferred that their men either return victorious or die honorably on the battlefield. In the Spartan social structure, slaves known as helots played a critical role. Helots performed agricultural labor, providing food to support Spartan warriors. But they didn't only farm, they also served in other capacities to fulfill Sparta's needs. However, the helots outnumbered the Spartans, creating a potential threat. So Spartans kept them in a state of constant control. Every year, to maintain control, young Spartan warriors would participate in a ritual called cryptia. During this event, they would sneak out at night and assassinate the strongest helots they found, serving as both a training exercise for young warriors and a form of population control over the helots. This ritual not only tested the young Spartans' combat skills, but also reinforced Spartan dominance over the helot population.